My name is Sam Asher, and it is my pleasure to serve as President and Executive Director of the Virginia Holocaust Museum. It is my pleasure to work with Marcus and Carol Weinstein. Marcus is the chairman of the board. I want to thank everyone for attending tonight. This is a very, very special night in honor of a dear friend of mine, Halina Zimm. And the Zimm family. And we're opening the Dimensions in Testimony exhibit. This is a culmination of a 3-year journey. And I remember a long time ago, Halina, when we were filming in a studio on the South Side, and you had 10 cameras rolling in front of you. The folks from the Shoah Foundation came out. It was a very special filming because it's a very special technique. And you're going to see those who will be here at the end. You have a colored badge that you were given when you came in, and it says what group you're in to see the new holographic theater. This is the 30th anniversary of the release of Schindler's List. And I saw Steven Spielberg on TV a few days ago. Yes, the Steven Spielberg who created the Shoah Foundation tied to the Dimensions in Testimony program. The OSC Shoah Foundation is dedicated to sharing testimonies of Holocaust survivors and witnesses of genocides and crimes against humanity, and they've been working since 1994. Just as we here at the Virginia Holocaust Museum play a unique role in preserving and documenting the Holocaust in our community and across the Commonwealth, we employ the history of the Holocaust and other genocides to educate and inspire future generations to fight racism, bigotry, and prejudice. Our new Dimensions in Testimony exhibit, working with the USC Shoah Foundation, is a collection of interactive survivor biographies that enable people to ask direct questions of Holocaust survivors and other witnesses to genocide. And guess what? They talk back to you. AI is working very well here, Mr. Governor, and it's very important that we have this amazing tool to work with. We're excited to bring Dimensions in Testimony to the VHM because it's just another way that we can teach adults and students about what happened, and we preserve the memories in the best way possible. Mr. Spielberg said on NBC News the other night, now 30 years later, the movie is still reaching and teaching people and giving them lessons about the Holocaust. He said individual hate is a terrible thing, but when collective hate organizes and gets industrialized, then genocide follows. So with anti-Semitism on the rise in our country, it's a perfect time not only to re-release Schindler's List, but for us to have this amazing program behind us with Dimensions in Testimony exhibit and the Alan and Halina Zimm Theater of Remembrance. And we're very, very excited. There are so many thank yous to make, not the least of which is to my dear friend, Halina, who spent many, many hours working on this and with the Shoah Foundation. I won't steal your thunder because I know you're going to talk about it, but needless to say, Halina is a shining example of a teacher, a witness, and a friend to all of us, and we love you very much. Many donors, including the Weinstein-Jecklin families, Dominion Energy, the Zimm family, and others, are named here on the walls, but also on all of the backs of the seats when you see the seats inside the theater. There are thank yous that I want to make to Bob Leipertz from Leipertz Construction. Thank you, Bob. Christy Raber from Raymond Engineering, now just called Raymond. our architects, and the photos around the room, if you've had a chance to see them, are the brilliant work of Dean Whitbeck. Dean, I don't know if you made it in, but thank you. It's amazing what you did and that you were able to capture everyone. It is now my pleasure to call on Rabbi David Asher to help us with an invocation.
Good evening. Thank you, Sam, for leading this institution. I'm very honored to be on the executive board and to serve under Mr. Weinstein, his leadership. Thank you, everyone, for being here for this important event. Let us take a moment to pray. We gather here today to beseech the Almighty for blessing and divine countenance as we inaugurate a theatrical tool for innovative 21st century education. As we seek to enlighten the Almighty's world with compassion, grace, tolerance, and forbearance through the stories of holy people who lived through the consequences of humanity's indifference towards evil and depravity. We ask God to look after our efforts, to see our collective sincerity and sensitivity as we strive together to better society in service of our Creator. And may the Almighty grant prosperity, happiness, and long life to Halina, Zimm, and all our survivors who have dedicated their many hours and experiences to injecting hope and beauty and celebration of life for all they encounter. And may we all live up to their charge, as continuously and famously echoed by our esteemed governor: hate is wrong, love is right, indeed love will win, and let us say amen. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. I now want to acknowledge the members of our board who are here and second and third generation survivors who are here. Would you all please rise? And first.
Second and third generation.
Yes, I got you. It's now, thank you. It's now my privilege to talk about some of the state delegates and senators that are here. But first, I want to acknowledge the Zimm family and thank you all for being here tonight. The folks who are going to lead us tonight are the Honorable Glenn Youngkin, the Honorable Jason Miares, and the Honorable LeVar Stoney. Thank you for being here and helping us to inaugurate this theater. Senators who are here are Senator Ghazala Hashmi, Senator Ryan McDougall, Senator Schuyler Van Valkenburg, Lily Hetrick for staff for Senator Barbara Favola. Delegates are Delegate Ray Cousins, Delegate David Owen, Delegate Vivian Watts, Delegate Rodney Willett, and Francis Lambert, who's with the Richmond City Council, Dot Heffron, who's with the Chesterfield County School Board, Steve Paranto with Chesterfield County School Board, Alicia S. Atkins with Henrico County School Board as the chair, and Shannon Taylor, Henrico County Commonwealth Attorney. Thank you all for being here tonight. It is now my pleasure to introduce the mayor of the city of Richmond, Mayor LeVar Stoney.
Thank you, Mr. Asher. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Governor, General, members of the General Assembly, good evening as well. First, let me begin by apologizing. My staff has me double booked. I have an event at 6 p.m. So I'm running a little late thus far, but I had to be here for this momentous occasion. It is an honor to be with you today as we celebrate an opening of the Allen and Halina Zimm Theater of remembrance, dimensions in theater, right here at the Virginia Holocaust Museum. I'd like to first share a special greeting to Halina, who I had an opportunity to meet in the back. And said I was a little bit taller than she expected. Halina, I want to say thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for educating so many of us about your trials, the trials that you've witnessed and what you've overcome as well. And thank you for sharing hope and inspiration that feeds our souls. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And also, let me thank the museum leadership as well and all the partners who made this theater possible. Let's give them a big round of applause, everyone. Thank you to the museum leadership for your vision, your commitment to the Holocaust, remembering the Holocaust, preserving the history of the Holocaust, and educating people on the Holocaust as well. Now, I won't get into the details of how the theater itself works. You all have an opportunity to do that on your own. But the Dimensions in Theater and Testimony Theater will allow this museum and museum goers to interact in real time with Holocaust survivors and other witnesses to the genocide. This is another tool added to the museum that will help teach about the dangers of hate, prejudice, and indifference. And there's no better time than now to call attention to the hate and prejudice that so many Jewish individuals experienced then and still do so today in 2024. Also, unfortunately, we live in a world where this type of hate is still present. We see anti-Semitic views and rhetoric plague our nation as we speak. And this has gone on for far too long. That's why I've worked hard to fight anti-Semitism in our society, and specifically right here in the great city of Richmond. Standing up against hate is not a left issue, it's not a right issue, a Democratic issue, or a Republican issue. It is our civic duty and moral duty to fight hate. Fight hate in our communities and ensure that no matter who you pray to, who you love, or the color of your skin, you are loved and respected. So in 2022, after I returned home from a trip I took to Greece with the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond, I asked mayors from all across the country to recognize May as Jewish American Heritage Month. And I'm proud to say, over 130 cities followed Richmond's lead and now has an American Jewish Heritage Month. As we've seen in the news and in our own backyards, anti-Semitism has been rising at an alarming rate all across our country. The growth and spread of this hatred are threats not just to the Jewish people, but to all who value human dignity, inclusion, and compassion. But opportunities like this, celebrating a new exhibit and learning from the Holocaust survivors themselves, gives us an opportunity to learn from our past and look towards our future with hope. It gives us the opportunity to call attention to and celebrate the vibrant heritage of Jewish Americans whose lives and communities have enriched our cities and our nation. Understanding hate and prejudice is the key to embracing love, kindness, and compassion. We must understand our past is to learn from it and to ensure history does not repeat itself. We must fight against hate by choosing love above all else, which is why I declared the city of Richmond a capital of compassion. We are no longer the capital of the Confederacy, but the capital of compassion, and one that promotes and upholds love, equality, and justice. And we've worked hard as a city and as an administration, not to just talk the talk, but also to walk the walk as well. We're committed to promoting an inclusive environment for all people to enjoy. And we're committed to fighting anti-Semitism and ensuring our residents feel safe, valued, and loved. I believe the work that we're doing here in the city of Richmond like installing a theater right here at the Virginia Holocaust Museum, is making a difference. For instance, Virginia has one of the fastest growing Jewish populations in the country. People are choosing Richmond, and people are choosing Virginia. And my hope is that the trend continues as we work hard to ensure that Richmond is a welcoming, inviting city and home for the Jewish community and individuals from all backgrounds. Let me close with this. 2 years ago, not only did I visit Greece, I had an opportunity to visit Israel as well with the AJC. And when I visited Israel, I had an opportunity to go to Yad Vashem, the memorial, the living memorial to the Holocaust. And I'll admit that day I left with a heart filled with sadness, but also I left with education and also encouragement that memorials like that can make a difference in telling the full and complete story about the horrific moment the Holocaust was. So, we must recognize our differences and diversity as strengths, not as things to tear us apart. And we must stand together with love for one another, and we must speak up when anyone in our community is threatened. Thank you for having me here tonight, and please take an opportunity to enjoy this great new asset right here in the great city of Richmond.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You can't leave without a kiss from Halina. It's not allowed.
My grandmother would be 95, but she's not around anymore. So you could be my grandmother.
I would thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm now my pleasure to introduce the Honorable Attorney General. Attorney General Jason Miyares is Virginia's first Latino Attorney General, elected in 2021. A former prosecutor and delegate, Attorney General Miyares has focused on public safety, criminal justice reform, and defending Virginians' rights. Known for his commitment to combating human trafficking, violent crime, and supporting law enforcement, the Attorney General has worked to protect individual freedoms and advocate for victims' rights. His leadership reflects a dedication to upholding the law while championing transparency and accountability across Virginia. Mr. Attorney General.
Good evening. It's a hard act to follow there. It is a real honor to be here because I feel like this is one of those kind of moments that we're at this intersection of memory and responsibility. We are at this age of a surge of anti-Semitism that has arisen in areas of society that we actually never thought maybe we would see again, but it's ever present. And we're entering this post-survivor and post-witness era in our country where firsthand Holocaust accounts are becoming rarer and rarer, and that's why this exhibit, I think, is so critical. I've said the greatest failure in America today, right now, is just the basic failure to communicate with each other. And what we need right now, I think, is people sitting down talking to each other instead of at each other. That's why this Dimensions and Testimony exhibit, I think, is so critical. And we're especially here to also honor somebody who's an extraordinary Virginian and friend, and Miss Halina Zimm. Now, there may be some that wonder why. Why is this needed? There was an NBC News survey of millennials that showed that 63% of young people did not know that 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust. That is stunning. Cicero noted, not to know what happened before you were born is mean that you are a child forever. And right now, we have so many young people that are ignorant of our history. You can look right now on our college campuses at some of those images of the anti-Semitic surge that we have seen throughout our country. And I want you to reimagine those images, but I want you to reimagine them in black and white and ask yourself, how different are they for some images that we know of the Hitler Youth that blocked Jewish students from going to class, that were attacking Jewish business owners with vile anti-Semitic rhetoric. So yes, this is needed more than ever. Plato said the two most important questions for a civilization is this: who teaches the children, and what do they teach them? So this living exhibit will go on, and I would say they just showed me a sneak preview, and it is extraordinary, because at some point, children will be able to walk through here, and they'll be able to ask Halina to sing a song. It is one of the most remarkable exhibits that I've ever seen anywhere. Smithsonian, DC, New York, but we have it right here in Virginia. And I want to thank Samuel and so many for helping to spearhead this remarkable. There's a war correspondent that was tied with Patton who saw so much of as they liberated the camps, and he said, the living has the cause of the dead in trust that they carry with them every day. I know that Halina feels that way. If you know her, you know she exudes an incredible exuberance and joy that when you hear her life story, it utterly makes that exuberance and joy remarkable. And a wise person once said that at the end of our lives, we will be measured by how we loved. Halina, you have loved everyone you've ever interacted with so well. So I tell everybody that works for me in the Attorney General's office, whether you're in my Major Crimes Division or the Consumer Protection Division or Civil Rights, I want your mindset to be that we're the people's protector. And it is such an honor to serve as a people's protector in that role as your Attorney General and these constituents, and definitely Halina. I will have to say this funny story. I was here at an event, and Halina's very, very excited when she sees people, and she gave me a big kiss on the cheek. And I got home that night, and my wife, Paige, said, wow, you must have a fan. I said, it's just Halina. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the Honorable Governor of the State of Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin, who is currently serving as the 74th Governor of the State of Virginia. Elected in 2021, and as one of his first acts, Governor Youngkin established the Commission to combat anti-Semitism, to address the rise in hate crimes, anti-Semitism, and the importance of historical awareness statewide. And I was able to serve on that commission. He has supported Virginia Holocaust Museum's significant strides in Holocaust education and combating anti-Semitism by including ongoing funding in the state budget to expand Holocaust education throughout the Commonwealth. His efforts allow the museum to focus on their mission and support schools across the Commonwealth, ensuring that schools and teachers can teach the lessons of the Holocaust accurately and fostering empathy and vigilance against hate. So it is my pleasure to invite you to come speak.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for hosting tonight with such honor. And thank you for serving on the commission. When we started work in 2022, the Attorney General and I went to work immediately. And the Commission to Combat Anti-Semitism was so important because we needed to bring together leaders who would help write an agenda for us to pursue. And it was that work that led to so much that collectively, General Assembly members that are here, we have accomplished together. And so, Sam, thank you for giving up so much time in that so important work. What an opportunity it is for us to come together this evening. To come together around a horrific time, and yet to do it with joy in our hearts. Why is that? Why is that? We come together tonight and we have this sense of celebration because of what we are about to hear from Halina on what was such a horrific moment in the history of this world. And I think it is that basic statement that together we can move forward. And divided, we will fail. And I look around this room tonight and I see so many friends. I see colleagues. I see teachers, doctors, and lawyers. I see people who every day wake up and go to work to make others' lives better. And that is why together tonight we see this event as a moment of celebration. And yet we know that we have to know our history. We have to experience it as best we can in order to keep us from the catastrophic repetition of that history. And it is when we understand where we have come from and we vow never again, then we can chart a path forward. I've shared this story with you, many of you before, but this past spring we were on a trade mission and we were recruiting companies to come to Virginia, and we were in Germany. And I said to the team, we're going to Dachau. And they said, but Governor, we don't have time. I said, we're going to make time. And we went to Dachau as a group, and we met the most amazing person that I could possibly imagine that I would meet on this trip, and that was the woman serving as our tour guide. And as we walked over those grounds that elicited a real sense of death, and I looked at her as we went into the crematorium, and I said, can you feel what I feel? And she looked at me and hugged me and said, Governor, I feel it every day. And I have felt it every day for the 17 years that I've been here. That is why I work here. It's because I want everyone to understand that there was an industrialization of murder that was inflicted, that was unleashed on Jewish people and many others. And if we don't fully appreciate the reality of that, then we can never, ever move forward to make sure it never happens again. You know, I think about her frequently. I think about her because she has dedicated her life to making sure that no one who walks through those terrible gates will walk away not fully understanding the weight of that horrific time. And so to mirror that, I met a woman named Halina Zimm. You don't walk away from a moment with Halina without feeling joy in your heart. And it is that bookend that is so important, because the two ends go together. And you see, when I first met Halina, I remember the day vividly. It was a day that we were signing a bill. We were signing a bill to fully recognize in the Code of Virginia the international definition of anti-Semitism. And it was a day that so many had worked extraordinarily hard to realize. It was not an easy bill to get through the General Assembly, and yet it did. And there we were, all gathered on a day where the clouds were somewhat ominous when it started. And yet we decided we would do this on the front parquet of the governor's mansion. And I remember saying, it won't rain. It's an important day. And I remember being told that there would be a woman there named Halina.
Oh, yeah.
And she had made a great effort to be there because you hadn't felt well before that day. And as we walked out into the central circular of the front of the governor's mansion, I looked over and I saw her. She was there with her daughter, and the sun came out. And I don't make this up, my friends. The sun came out. And we signed that bill. And then we gathered for the introductions, the moment of a hug, which you've ever met Halina, you get a hug. And as she stood next to me, she uttered words that I have incorporated freely and oftentimes fail to give full credit to her for. Hate is wrong, and love is right. And those words have been peppered through my speeches every time since. And so if you'd like a royalty, one is due. Halina has been to every one of our Hanukkah celebrations at the mansion. She has been my special guest at our State of the Commonwealth. She came to the signing of the next bill that was on our list from the Commission to Combat Anti-Semitism, a bill to incorporate into our hate crimes the full definition of anti-Semitism. We stood together as we mourned the death of hostages in Gaza. And today it's my honor to stand with her as we truly celebrate the telling of her story and the telling of the story that must always be told. It's a powerful example of the impact that one person can have. I speak frequently about the power of one. And when one person stands up and says, hate is wrong, love is right, and then finds the way for that simple statement to spread literally like the morning breeze across all of our lives, that is a moment to celebrate. You know Halina's story. She was born in a small town in Poland. She had to escape and go live in Warsaw. She was taken in by a family that truly gave her a name and existence and protected her. She saw across the way the horrific emptying of Jews in Poland. She lived through something that many of us have only read about in a book. Many of us oftentimes wonder, could something that horrible really happen? And of course, she met an amazing man named Alan, and they came to America. And when many people are able to leave behind such a extraordinarily devastating and impactful moment, they leave it behind. And she chose not to. She chose to tell this story for everyone who walks through these doors forever to hear. That is the mark of a great woman. I've told her over and over again we have much more work to do together. And I've also reminded her that she makes each of us better in the work that we do. And therefore, tonight, we come together in order to express that basic truth, that hate is wrong, and there is love. And so let me be clear. We love you. There is a spirit of strength that pulses through her veins. There is a true love, an unjudging love that is part of her soul. And I think that is what we celebrate tonight, that bookend to a horrific chapter in America, in our world. It's history that must never be repeated. And I think this is also a moment to remind ourselves that we have a responsibility to stand for each other. In my faith, I am constantly reminded by the Apostle Paul that we are grafted into the same olive tree because we have the same fathers. And it is our responsibility together to stand for the Jewish people, to stand for Israel, and most importantly, to make sure the words never again mean never again. May God bless you. And Halina, may God bless you. Now, I have a present. I have a present for you, and I have my own copy of this.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Wow.
I have my own copy in my office.
I just want to tell you, do you know why I love that man? I love him, and I mean it deeply. I love him with all my heart. He's kind, and he's one of a kind. There's nobody like you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can be my son.
Okay.
Is it okay if I
Done.
adopt you?
Done.
All right.
I've now been adopted, which I am very happy to proclaim loudly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, what you did for me today, I mean,
Thank you.
honor, it's great honor for me to be here with you, and also always wonderful. Yes, I'm so grateful to you and all these big people that came here, plus everybody else here. I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you, but I'm not finished yet.
No. So I'm going to go sit down and let you go.
Okay.
Bless you.
Halina, it's your turn.
This is wonderful. Oh my God, this is so beautiful.
Perfect. Thank you.
what an honor and what a privilege. But I have to tell you, I have nothing in my hand. I am not organized. If I had papers in front of my hand, be flying all around, and then I wouldn't remember what I said. So whatever I tell you today, it comes from here, right here. So where is Megan? Can I call Megan here? Megan Friendly.
Here she comes.
I love you. This little girl is education. What is
Director. I'm a director of education here. I'm your public relations person, and we're partners in crime.
If I'm wrong, please correct me. That's why I have you here.
Okay,
But,
okay.
Asha, Sam Asha's always with me. When I did my hologram, there were two people that picked me up and brought me home. Usually Asha and Megan, always, always. And every time that I came in the morning, it was always in the morning when he came to pick me up, I knew it's going to be it was 5 days, 6 hours, every single day. But you know, people ask me, aren't you tired? I was never tired. I was looking forward, actually, honest to God, because I love the people that I work with. There were people global. Am I saying right?
You're right.
Now, you
got
can
it.
get next to me.
You got it. You got it. You're doing great.
Okay, no, yeah. So the girl, actually, the young woman that came, directed with me, she was with me all the time for 6 hours. But before anything, I said, you know, I want to know more about you. How can I open up myself to you unless I know something about your personal? So it was like, in the same day, I knew her whole life story. So like I said, every day when we arrive here, I loved everybody. Because I realized everybody, the people from all over the world that set it up, that we're all the same. We all want the same thing. We're all the same thing. And that was such an experience, learning experience for me. That's one thing. But going back about what I do when I go to school to teach teacher. You're talking about the hologram, so I'm going to, what I do as a, I'm not content on my teacher, but I do a lot speaking to, help me out now.
Middle school, high school, college, religious organizations, women's clubs, men's clubs, I mean, thousands of people.
How about,
William and Mary, she was just at.
I don't know why she's here. Is somebody from William Mary here? The teacher.
Where is she? She's right over there.
Do you mind, because, you know, I don't follow any orders. I just speak from my heart. And where are you, honey?
She's right here.
Come up. Oh, why she? Look, this is Tracy. You tell what you're doing. Okay. Okay, tell him.
What do you want me to say?
Well, tell him who you are, what you do.
So I'm a professor at the business school at William and Mary, and I met Halina quite by chance because we go to the same beauty parlor.
Oh.
And I called her up and said, would you like to have lunch? And we went to lunch, and I didn't get home till about 8 hours later because we talked the whole time. And then we invited her down to William and Mary. She spoke at the Hillel Center, and it was amazing. It was
The
amazing.
thing I remember the thing that you told me about this amazing, that I was able to stand about an hour at a time.
She stood for over an hour and spoke, and yeah. There you go. There you go.
So I do have people that I enjoy and I love teaching, being with kids, because they are the most important people. They should know. But when I speak to him, I get so much out of it, believe me. I'm looking forward when I have to go and speak to young people. And then after the presentation, they all come out, line up in a circle. Everybody wants to come and give me a hug. It's a wonderful feeling. But I want to tell you just two things that really stuck in my mind. I mean, I met many, many of them. In one of the schools, I don't know, I might as well say, Douglas High School, I spoke 5 times. I don't know if the teacher is still here. Oh, she's there, she's there. And after the presentation, the kids all line up, they will give me a hug and talk to me. But then after 10 minutes, everybody left, and there was young kids standing around, and I went up to him, I said, tell me, honey, is there anything I can do for you? He said, I never had a chance to give you a hug. And I said, can I just give you a hug? So I went up to him, and I noticed that when he spoke, he didn't speak perfect English. And I said, tell me, where you from? I am from Egypt, and I'm not very long here. Can I make a picture of you? Can I hug you? I mean, I was touched, it really touched me deeply, that this kid, that he was here in this country not very long, but he was able to relate what I was telling him. I remember that, and that touched me very much. And another thing that I remember, there was one of the school theater for young, help me out, Winnie. What's the name of the theater for young people? What? Spark, yes. They were actually working on an infantile film. And they invited me, while they do the rehearsals, they invited me. And so I told them briefly my story, and I always talk about my father, because he was very important in my life. He was the one, actually, that we survived because of his insight, his foresight. So I was talking about my father, how much I loved him, how much I respected him. So after the thing was over, he came up, one young guy came up to me, he's crying. And I said, why are you crying? He said, because I don't like my father. I hate my father. I don't get along with my father. But listening to your story, he said, I was so touched. I want to go back, and I want to love my father. I'll do anything possible to get along with my father. And another thing that touched me, so many, many things in my life that I meet people, I'm learning from. Even that I tell them my story. I don't judge anybody, absolutely, because I love everybody. If I wouldn't be there, if I wouldn't do that, I have to love people. I have to. I've never hated. That's one thing. Since I was a little girl, somebody asked me a long time ago, were you always like that? I was always like that. I always wanted to know people, curious about people, and always said, I love people. I mean, it's nothing wrong with loving, is it? No. So there are many, many stories that I actually experienced in my life. So speaking to young people, they are the ones that have to know. They are the ones, this is our future. And I tell them that, always tell them that. You are futures. It's your responsibility. I want everybody to say it together before I finish. Can you, wait a minute, hold on. Look, is anybody here in this place that is 96? Not 97, no, 96. No, nobody. Okay. So I've got the privilege, I got the honor. So I want you to look at each other. You're sitting and look at each other. Hold each hand, each other hand, yes. And let us all say it together. The hate is wrong and love is right. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So now, we are lucky to have Rebecca and Ruth here, who are Halina's daughters.
Oh.
And they're going to come up.
Everybody that you came. Wonderful.
Who's first? Rebecca's coming. Oh, better. Halina's daughter. Beautiful.
Yes, there's nothing better than the image of
Whoops. Good evening. Is that good? My name is Rebecca Zimm Parisier, and I'm Halina and Alan's youngest daughter. I'm truly grateful to have so many distinguished guests with us here tonight, including the Honorable Governor Glenn Youngkin, Attorney General Jason Miyares, Mayor LeVar Stoney, many other dignitaries from the Commonwealth, the wonderful Holocaust Museum staff, led by Samuel Asher, and of course, family and friends. When I moved to New York City in 1982, I joined Second Generation, an organization for children of Holocaust survivors. I was truly shocked how most people in the group knew nothing about their parents' experiences. I then realized how amazingly fortunate I was to have parents who did share their tragedy with us. Although it haunted me deeply, it was important for us to know in carrying on their legacy. Shortly thereafter, the Yale Archives contacted me to come to interview my parents, and their educational journey began. Only just recently, my mom was invited to speak on several college campuses in Virginia about the Holocaust. I was really worried about her safety, considering the violence and protests that we've recently witnessed in this country and frankly around the world. I called her and expressed my fears, to which she replied, "Don't worry about me. I'm not afraid. Don't live in fear when you know you're right." That's my mom. Well, now we have evolved to where we are today with an AI hologram that will live on and continue to engage future generations. Mom, we admire your commitment, passion, and energy in connecting in such a relatable way to the next generation through sharing your painful but uplifting story of survival and love. Words cannot convey our admiration for how you can reflect on your terrifying tragic past and look to the future with such optimism. What an amazing legacy of strength you have passed on to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and thousands of students in Virginia, New York, and beyond.
My name is Ruth Zimm McMahon, and I am the eldest daughter of Halina and Alan Zimm. For many years, my parents have spoken, everyone knows, about the Holocaust. My mother speaks to people of all ages. She has a way of bringing to life the fears that she encountered, knowing she could be arrested at any time. She was living with false papers provided by a righteous Gentile, obtained by my grandfather. My mother has spoken at schools, colleges, prisons, military bases, and various community groups about the fear and terror that she lived with through this period. I'm very blessed to be with my parents when we went to the World Gathering of Holocaust Survivors in 1981 in Jerusalem, Israel. And I'm equally as blessed to be present when she was being filmed for the holographic video. I'm amazed, as I know everyone else that was there at the time could believe that she would remember such details of her life. I'm honored to be here and proud to be here with Governor Glenn Youngkin, Attorney General Miyares, who have advocated so much to protect the Jewish community of Virginia with your anti-Semitism bills. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The Holocaust was a consequence of unbridled hatred. In light of the resurgence of anti-Semitism that we are all witnessing on our college campuses and our cities, it's more important than ever to speak out. My mother has made such an important effort to immortalize her memories using the holographic theater that's provided by the museum. My sister and I are extremely proud to be her daughter.
Daughters. And in closing, the
With
Zimm, McMahon, and Parisier families would like to thank
the Steven Spielberg
Spielberg, the
Theater of
University of Southern
California,
Shoah Foundation, Dimensions in Testimony
Testimonies.
Project, and all of the wonderful staff that came and made it happen, and Samuel Asher.
and the Virginia Holocaust Museum.
And the Virginia
Of course.
And one more thing. When I just heard Attorney General Miaris quote all these wonderful philosophers, there is something that stood out to me this is totally unscripted. That always stood out, and this is for you, Mom. In the Wizard of what? In the Wizard of Oz, at the end of the Wizard of Oz, the Tin Man said something very special. And he said, or the wizard said to the Tin Man, "A heart is not judged by how much you love, but how much you are loved by others." And tonight, we're witnessing the love around you tonight, Moms. Yes.
I'm going to take the chairman's prerogative and thank a few people, including Kenny Bendheim, who has cooked them wonderful food that if you haven't had, you have to have soon, and Martina, who is with Bellatrix, who helped us get everything arranged today and for the last few days to help us commemorate the Theater of Remembrance. So please, when things are done and when you're waiting, because some of you will be waiting a little bit to get into the theater, go grab some food and some drinks, etc., over there. What you got when you walked in was a little card, and it has a color on it, and some of them are teal and some of them are purple, and those are the different group numbers, because the theater will only seat 44 people at a time. So we will call you up to come into the theater, one group at a time. And now I'm going to ask the governor to help us cut the ribbon.
Oh my God.
Got a big sister.
You guys remember we're over there.
And you hold, you gotta look over there. So you can
Wait, look at that.
elbows down here. Lena, look up. Grandma, look up.
Okay, ready? Cut. Cut.
Go ahead.
Push down. I'm going to push down.
Cut it.
1, 2, 3.
There we go.
Okay, Halina wants one more comment. Okay, real quickly, everybody's going to wait.
Look. I want to acknowledge my family. My daughters, Rebecca, Annie, and I have also 2 wonderful, wonderful son-in-laws, and I have to acknowledge them. David Parisi, stand up, David. And John McMahon, where are you? Wonderful granddaughters, get up. Jordana, Tova, Josie. And I had a surprise today. Tremendous surprise. I have to tell you, I never expected that my grandson from Washington is going to come. He surprised me. Because every time I call on the phone, he never picks up the phone. The girls do, not him, never. But he makes sure, all of a sudden, the door opens, and
There he is.
here he is. Yoni, get up, Yoni. Let everybody see how good looking you are. Come on, get up. Jeremy. Oh, and Jeremy, get up, honey. And Aaron, guys. Beautiful boy. Absolutely. I am so proud of you, honest to God. The good people, honey. The main thing, they're kind and good. I'm very proud of my family. And I always say, it doesn't matter what you do, but you have to have a good heart. Don't judge. Don't judge. Accept people for what they are. Look at them. See who they are. They don't have to be rich. I said, when they used to date guys, my daughters, I said, don't look for somebody rich. Look for somebody, good people, goodness. I believe in a good heart. So it's long. Another one I love, Barbara. No. Anyway, I love you all, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, thank you.
You already said that.
And we're gonna do your family picture real quick.
Okay, do your family picture.
You have to do that, they're all here.
I wanted to talk about.
Go, 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 go.
and get started, I'd like to introduce you to the virtual Halina Center. Tell me your story.
I am Halina Zimm, and I'm a Holocaust survivor. I was born in Lodz, Poland, and I am 94 years old. Liberated by Russian army, 1945.
Can I see a picture of your family?
The picture of my mother and her two sisters, a brother and my grandfather. Because I don't remember all the words. So, getting to know you, that's from King and I. It was a very frightening thing when the Nazis marched into Poland. The thing that is very vivid in my memories, it was scary. They came in on motorcycles and with uniforms, the Nazi uniform, and we've never seen something like that before. It was like, it looked like they came from the from sky or something. It was very frightening, very frightening. And they had guns, rifles, and it was scary. I hadn't seen that before. So those things I remember very clearly. That it was a very scary time when I saw the Nazis invaded Poland.
Thank you all so much for being here. You got a little glimpse of it. Like I said, come back and have a real session where you can actually ask her questions, have a conversation.